So here I'm going to show digitizing a large diagram for wall art. And this wall art has a couple of birds in it. The diagram is about 49 by 96 inches, but the actual print, the actual plan, is 42 by 73 inches. I'm using the jumbo drawing board to digitize this diagram. In this picture, I'm showing the red lines. This is the joint between the two boards. This is the null area. And this is where we'll have to move our diagram to redraw this area. Before I start any tracing, I like to verify that my two boards are working correctly with the computer. Go to Setup and Configure and follow the instructions. What you're going to end up doing here is touching the pen on table 1 and verifying that table works, and touching the pen on table 2 and verify that that table is working correctly. This also shows that the ports are working correct. Now that everything checks out, you're ready to digitize. I want to show the two reference points. They're the red X's on the diagram on the left, the red X on the diagram on the right. Before you draw, the program will ask you to input the two reference points, the one on the left and the one on the right. These reference points are important because that enables you to move the diagram and get the alignment. I'm just showing here the different selections that I use for drawing. I draw each separate part and I complete it. As each part is completed, the software will close up that part so there's no open vectors. Again, I always talk about saving my work. I save my work frequently. In case I have a bit of a problem, I can always go back to the copy that was perfect. I seem to use the combination selection a lot. It just feels comfortable. When I make up these videos, I also speed them up because it would take forever to show some of the drawing. I just take my time and do each section, close it up, make sure there's no open vectors. And again, save my work frequently. So you'll notice here you can see that joint between the two boards where the drawing is not picking up. That's why we have to move the diagram using new reference points to be able to draw that area in that joint between the two boards. Again, that area that I've penciled off with the red marks, that's the joint area that I'm redrawing. After you move your diagram to the new reference spots, there's a procedure to follow to draw in this joint area. There may be some node editing required when you draw in that joint area, especially joining up the diagram. Now that we're complete, let's save the file as the final. I take the file that we created and I load it into Vectric Aspire 9.0. This program checks for open vectors, allows some node editing, and creates a toolpath. I also like to run it through the simulator to simulate how it's going to look, spin it around, orientate it the right way, even make it look like it's a piece of wood. The file looks good, it's ready to have a toolpath and ready to be cut. I tried something different this time. I put the full-size plans on the 1/2-inch plywood that I'm cutting. This sort of enabled me to see how the cut would look on the sheet. I'm using a 1/4-inch end mill, about 21,000 RPM, and I'm using a feed rate of about 100 inches per minute. And you have to realize here that the video is sped up a lot because I want to get the information in here. The material here is 1/2-inch birch plywood, 4x8. The full cut took about an hour and 20 minutes. I have the workpiece fastened down to a 1/4-inch piece of scrap plywood that's still on top of my slave table. I used 1¼ nails, finishing nails, to fasten my workpiece down through the scrap plywood. Each part that was cut out was tabbed, so as I was going along I took a chisel, removed the tabs, and pulled the piece out. The job went well, everything went pretty smooth, parts came out easy, and the finished product looks excellent. This would be a fine piece of wall art to hang on a brick wall or in a garden area. So you can see here we went from digitizing a plan to cutting it out.